Automatic cars are way easier to drive than manuals, but just because they're simple doesn't mean they're foolproof. Drivers everywhere make small mistakes that slowly destroy their transmissions, kill fuel economy, and rack up costly repairs. In this video, I'll show you 12 automatic car mistakes to avoid, because chances are you're already making at least one of them. And mistake number 3, it's so bad it could cost you up to $2,000. You won't believe how easily it happens. At number 12, let's start with a habit that seems completely innocent: resting your hand on the gear lever. Most guys don't realize their casual hand placement is basically a slow-motion transmission assassination. That cool-looking pose where your hand rests on the gear lever is actually sending silent death threats to your car's most expensive component. Professional mechanics have a name for this: shift linkage stress. Every single time you rest your hand on that lever, you're applying constant pressure to a system designed for precision movement. Think about it like constantly tapping on a delicate watch mechanism. At first, nothing happens, but those microscopic movements, they're creating internal wear. That'll bite you hard years down the line. Most transmission repairs cost between $2,000 to $4,000, and a shocking percentage start with these seemingly innocent habits that most drivers consider completely normal. The fix is simple, guys. Keep both hands on the wheel and your gear lever alone. Mistake number 11 is leaving the car in drive while idling. This is basically giving your transmission a slow, painful death sentence. Modern vehicles generate incredible amounts of heat, and your transmission fluid becomes the sacrificial lamb. Transmission fluid isn't just some random liquid, it's a sophisticated hydraulic medium designed to lubricate, cool, and protect incredibly precise metal components. When you keep your car in drive during extended stops, you're forcing that fluid to work overtime without actually moving anything. It's like running a marathon while standing completely still. Pure unnecessary stress. Automotive engineers have calculated that unnecessary heat exposure can accelerate transmission fluid degradation by nearly 30%. That might sound like a dry statistic, but translated to real-world terms, it means potentially replacing your entire transmission years earlier than necessary. Your $500 convenience of keeping the car in drive could easily transform into a $3,000 replacement cost. So, always shift to neutral or park when stationary for more than a minute. Your transmission will thank you by lasting significantly longer. At number 10, many drivers believe that coasting in neutral saves fuel. This couldn't be further from the truth. Modern vehicles are technological symphonies, with engine control units so intelligent they optimize fuel consumption better than you ever could by manually intervening. The truth automotive forums won't tell you is shifting to neutral provides zero meaningful fuel savings. What it does provide is a potentially dangerous driving scenario, with reaction times that could mean the difference between a near miss and a total disaster. Your ECU is continuously adjusting fuel injection, cutting fuel during deceleration when you're in gear. Neutral, you've just voluntarily surrendered that intelligent management. Professional driving instructors universally condemn neutral driving. It removes engine braking, reduces vehicle control, and creates unnecessary risk. One split second of delayed response during a critical moment could transform a routine drive into a life-altering event. Your car is a precisely engineered system designed to work most efficiently when you trust its built-in intelligence. At number 9 is the mistake of driving right after a cold start. Your transmission is not a morning person, literally. Cold starts make the transmission sluggish, resistant, and absolutely not ready for action. Your transmission fluid isn't some magical liquid that springs to life instantly. It's a thick, viscous substance that needs time to warm up and flow properly. Those first 30 to 60 seconds after turning the key are critical care for your vehicle's most expensive component. When you slam the car into drive and start hammering down the road immediately, you're essentially sending your transmission into battle without any warm-up. The fluid is still cold and dense, providing minimal lubrication. Every component is grinding against each other with maximum friction, creating microscopic wear that compounds over thousands of miles. Professional mechanics can spot a transmission that's been consistently cold started from a mile away. It's got more internal scars than a bar fight veteran. The solution is pretty simple. Just let your car idle for at least 30 seconds, then drive gently until the transmission reaches optimal temperature. Mistake number 8 is driving on a low fuel tank. Most drivers ignore their fuel gauge until it's practically screaming for attention. Big mistake. Your fuel pump relies entirely on being submerged in fuel. When that fuel level drops below a quarter tank, you're essentially forcing this critical component to work in conditions it was never designed to handle. Fuel pumps are cooled by the fuel surrounding them. Drop that level, and suddenly you're creating a heat party where your pump becomes the unfortunate guest of honor. The surrounding environment transforms from a nice cool swimming pool to a scorching desert. Dirt accumulates faster, internal components start wearing down, and before you know it, you're looking at a replacement that'll cost more than most people's monthly rent. Fuel pump replacements typically cost between $500 to $1,500 depending on your vehicle. But let me tell you, most of these failures are 100% preventable. Keeping your tank at least a quarter full is automotive self-preservation. Every time you push that fuel gauge toward empty, you're basically sending an invitation to a very expensive mechanical breakdown. Mistake number 7, riding the brakes downhill. A lot of drivers think they're protecting their car by lightly keeping the brake pedal pressed while coasting downhill, but they're actually cooking their brakes and putting unnecessary strain on their transmission. Automatic transmissions are designed to downshift and use engine braking to hold control speed on descents. When you override that by constantly braking, you're forcing the transmission to work against itself, heating up components and prematurely wearing out brake pads, rotors, and even transmission fluid. Let me tell you the right way. If you're going downhill, shift into a lower gear like L or S mode in automatics. Ease off the brakes and let your engine do the work. This small change reduces brake wear, protects your transmission, and gives you better control. At number 6 is the mistake most drivers make without a second thought: forgetting the emergency brake. This isn't some optional accessory your car manufacturer threw in for decoration. It's a critical mechanical lifeline that most drivers treat like a forgotten stepchild. When you park your car and skip engaging that brake, you're basically sentencing your transmission's tiny parking pawl to mechanical torture. Let me break down what's happening behind the scenes. That parking pawl is a microscopic metal hook inside your transmission, roughly the size of your pinky finger. Its entire job is to prevent your multi-thousand-pound vehicle from rolling, but it was never designed to support the entire vehicle's weight. Skipping the emergency brake is like asking a toothpick to hold up a refrigerator. Something's going to give, and it won't be pretty. Every time you park without engaging the emergency brake, you're concentrating several thousand pounds of weight onto a component smaller than a matchstick. Technicians can literally see the wear patterns, those microscopic deformations that eventually lead to complete failure. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this, drop a like, comment, and maybe even subscribe. It helps a ton and keeps the content coming. Into the top 5, the 5th mistake is shifting gears while moving. Think of your transmission like a professional ballet dancer. Every movement needs to be calculated, smooth, and intentional. Shifting between drive, reverse, or park while the vehicle is still moving, that's like telling the ballet dancer to suddenly stop mid-pirouette and change direction. Something's going to break. The internal components of an automatic transmission operate in a delicate dance of hydraulic pressure, metal tolerances, and split-second timing. When you force a gear change while moving, you're creating what transmission specialists call mechanical shock. Essentially a violent collision of moving parts that were never meant to interact that way. Mechanics can literally hear the damage happening, those subtle clunks and shifts that signal internal components being slowly destroyed. So yeah, always come to a complete stop before changing gears. Next at number 4 is hard launches. Each time you slam the accelerator from a stop, you're basically sending a sledgehammer through your vehicle's most expensive component. The torque converter is a hydraulic miracle that translates engine power into movement, and you're treating it like a punching bag. What most drivers don't understand is that the initial acceleration moment creates exceptionally more stress than normal driving. Your transmission fluid becomes a high-pressure battlefield, with internal components experiencing forces they were never designed to handle repeatedly. Professional racing teams understand this intrinsically. A single hard launch might not destroy your transmission immediately, let's be honest, but it's like adding dog years to its lifespan. Repeated aggressive starts create microscopic wear patterns that compound faster than credit card interest. As we talked about it earlier, transmission fluid breaks down. Seals start leaking, and before you know it, you're looking at a huge repair bill. Those few seconds of ego-driven acceleration could easily transform a $50 transmission fluid change into a $4,000 complete replacement. At number 3 is parking while the car is moving. This is the nuclear option of transmission destruction, the move that makes every transmission engineer break out in cold sweats. When you engage park while your vehicle is still in motion, you're making a big mistake. Let me paint you the brutally honest picture. The tiny parking pawl, a metal component smaller than your thumb, is suddenly expected to stop thousands of pounds of moving metal. The instant that pawl catches a moving transmission, you're creating a mechanical disaster that will echo through every internal component. In my opinion, there are 2 types of drivers: those who have destroyed their transmission by shifting to park while moving, and those who haven't yet. The damage is immediate and bad. We're talking about a potential complete transmission failure that could turn your $30,000 vehicle into an expensive paperweight in milliseconds. So guys, always stop completely before shifting into park. Moving on, the second big mistake is letting water enter the transmission. We can all agree that water and transmission go together like fire and gasoline. Absolutely nothing good can come from their interaction. Water contamination is the silent killer of transmissions. It doesn't announce itself with a dramatic explosion or a warning light. Instead, it slowly destroys your transmission from the inside out. Transmission fluid is a carefully engineered hydraulic medium with specific viscosity and protective properties. Water breaks down those properties real fast. When water enters your transmission, it creates a chemical warfare scenario inside your vehicle's most complex system. Seals start to degrade, metal components begin oxidizing, and the fluid's lubricating properties become essentially useless. Deep water crossings or flooding can cause irreversible transmission failure. Technicians can spot water-contaminated transmission fluid and may charge you a lot for it. Alright, the number 1 mistake is using both feet for pedals. This one isn't just a bad habit, it's a potentially fatal driving technique that makes every professional driver and driving instructor want to scream. This isn't about looking cool or feeling like a professional race car driver. You have to understand the fundamental physics of vehicle control and human reaction. Most driving schools will tell you that your right foot is designed to handle both acceleration and braking. Using 2 feet creates a perfect storm of potential disaster. You're essentially creating a scenario where accidental, simultaneous brake and gas application becomes not just possible, but probable. Professional racing drivers and advanced driving instructors unanimously agree: 1 foot, 2 pedals, 0 compromise. The real danger is about split-second decision-making. When your brain is managing 2 feet instead of coordinating a single point of control, you're introducing a level of mechanical complexity that dramatically increases accident potential. Every microsecond counts in emergencies, and 2 feet driving introduces unnecessary mechanical and cognitive lag that could mean the difference between avoiding an accident and becoming a statistic. For those who've made it this far, here's the bonus mistake that separates the true car-savvy drivers from the amateurs: heat. It's the number 1 killer of transmissions, the silent destroyer most drivers won't notice until it's too late. Ignoring it could be the worst mistake you ever make. Remember, your transmission fluid is a hydraulic medium designed to protect, cool, and lubricate the most complex mechanical system in your vehicle. When transmission temperatures begin to climb, you're essentially watching your vehicle's most expensive component slowly degrade. Technicians can spot the signs of impending transmission failure long before most drivers even realize something's wrong. Those subtle shifts, the slight hesitations, the barely perceptible changes in performance, they're all warning signs that your transmission is crying out for help. If you notice any of these signs, stop driving immediately. Check fluid levels and consider installing an additional transmission cooler to prevent long-term damage. Keep in mind that your transmission requires attention, respect, and absolutely no sudden moves. The difference between a transmission that lasts 150,000 miles and one that dies at 80,000 isn't luck, guys, it's knowledge. And that's a wrap. Now you know what not to do. Did any of these surprise you, or do you know of any even worse automatic car mistakes? Do you really prefer automatic cars, or are you a diehard manual fan? Drop your comments below. Before you go, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want more, click on our other videos. You won't be disappointed. Thanks for watching.